Like the mouth, the moon, and the soil in the earth, breaking through the rocks, growing wild and tall till the buds begin to pop. So pack me in a bowl or roll me in a spliff. While you're breaking me down, you can feel your fingers stick.
Hey, this is Ryan from Portland, Oregon, and I'm here with,
Amanda Breeze, and I'm in Toronto.
and we're here to talk about all the fun stuff around one of our favorite plants, cannabis. Today, we're digging more into Amanda's trip up and down the West Coast, focusing on one or two of her stops in the Emerald Triangle. Beautiful, the most amazing source of weed in North America, according to many. So of course, Amanda had to go in there and get her hands in the dirt and bug people about weed. So we're here talking about that today.
It's 100% true, and it's where I got started in weed. So it's always nice for me to go back to my roots and see the beautiful place that inspired me to be in this crazy industry.
Yeah, seriously. And which somehow you're still in it. You know what I mean? Like this thing keeps chugging along and we do too. And it's fun for the most part.
Yeah, I just feel so privileged that I was able to go back there. I mean, aside from the weed, it is insanely beautiful in the Emerald Triangle.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you came out at the most ideal time. Was everyone still planting then, or this is post planting?
No, I showed up. Oh, I'm such a terrible guest. I showed up right at the end of planting season. So everyone was super tired. And just like, happy to see me because I haven't been back in a while. But also, yeah, damn, like I could have waited just literally a couple more days and it would have been a lot chiller for everyone to have me following them around all day. So it was pretty peak planting season. And I got to plant a couple. Obviously, I helped out. I'm not just going to stand around and take pictures, although I did a lot of that too. And I got to follow my friend Lauren around. You're going to hear an interview from her today. So I kind of just followed her around all day, asking her a million questions for all of our listeners to know what it's like being someone who works in California and how she got started and what life's like these days in the legal market in Humboldt County.
Yeah, super interesting. Can't wait for those interviews. We're gonna drop those in here just shortly. Yeah, we're just connecting. I mean, it's kind of full on summer now. We're here in July. I'm on my it's kind of funny because in the fall or in the winter you want to like cozy up next to a fireplace with a nice glass of scotch or wine or whatever. This is what I picture my winters to be like, right? So now that it's summer, I have found myself I'm less interested in smoking like the best, top, highest quality weed that I can get. Of course, that's the most interesting. But now I'm like, okay, give me a fat bag of something that smells kind of orangey that I can just walk along the coast or the river and just smoke to my heart's content. And I'm really happy doing that right now. It's hitting the spot, let's say.
Ooh, that sounds nice. Yes, I've been doing a lot of camping myself. So I've been sneaking out into the woods and it's been really smoky here. We have these like crazy fires. So
Yeah.
last week I was in Algonquin. It's a pretty famous camping region in Ontario, and you couldn't even see the sun. So I will admit it makes smoking a little less enjoyable when you're in the smoke, but I've been going for it anyway. I mean, it's summer. It's what
Yeah.
you do.
Enjoy, right? Yes. What am I've been getting into a lot of exotic mic red pop crosses. So
Oh.
yeah, a lot of fun stuff. I that's not something that I initially gravitated towards when like the big seed release came out and it was red pop crossed with everything and everyone was growing those out. And I didn't find anything I really truly enjoyed from that. Red pop. Maybe if you guys have ever had literal red pop before, it's like a red cream soda, big red, I think it's called in the southern United States. It's just like a crazy sweet marshmallow cream soda type flavor, and I have found that in weed. I have smoked some stuff that did kind of have that red pop sort of flavor to it, and so lately, let's see here, Lovely had a couple of crosses. I think I want to say Velvet Heat and maybe Too Cool. that I got into both, and they both had that kind of like popsicle-y sweet cream soda thing going on, which is, man, that's perfect for summer. That's what I want to get into, right? I'm a big fan of the old like tiger's blood snow cones, just spray the red dye on top with whatever flavoring they've added. And so anything that tastes like that, I'm all for it.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. My summer go-to is I really love ice cream truck ice cream.
Yes.
Not a strain, a literal ice cream truck, folks.
Oh, hey, we you both. Yes.
And the other day I was driving home from work and an ice cream truck was in front of me and I followed this fucking ice cream truck 8 blocks. I kid you not. I followed behind this guy for 10 minutes and I was like, he's got to pull over somewhere. I got to get my twist cone. And finally, when I was about to give up, so I was like, I don't think this guy's going to stop anywhere. He pulled into an apartment building. I thought I was just following him home all of a sudden. I was like, oh my God, I'm just following this guy out. But no, he stopped and he threw the music on and I ran up and I was like, bro, I've been following you for like 10 minutes. And he said, next time, honk a little or flick your lights and I'll just pull over. What?
Ooh, that
I
is the
didn't know
trick.
that was an option. I didn't
No,
know you could do that.
I love that. Oh man, I'm gonna start doing that all the time. All right, or just like turn up my turkey in the straw at him and be like, "Hey, yo, you, me, you, can we do this?" So what did you get?
I got a twist cone.
Oh,
Vanilla
twist.
chocolate twist. I like the soft serve and
Mm.
yeah, it was totally worth whatever $1,000 in gas these days.
Yeah.
Following this guy for 10 minutes. Well, I just got so excited because I
Yeah.
love the soft serve, especially straight from the truck. It has that, that nice city flavor.
Yeah. My family, we like to go down to the river here on Sauvie Island, which is like a great little beachy spot. We love going down there, and I would say, 1 in every 5 times we're down there, we catch the ice cream boat, which
What?
is some retired couple have decided to buy a boat, throw some music on it, throw some freezers on it, and they just cruise up and down, popping into the shore. All the kids and families come and walk up. So I always have like a wet $10 bill on me for just in case these guys roll by, because I gotta get like a big watermelon popsicle. Just tastes like big. It's green and red, and sometimes if you're lucky, you might get some chocolate seeds in it. Love those.
Yeah.
And then I am a sucker for any of the character pops. Give me a Sonic the Hedgehog with gumball eyes, all over it. The whole thing is bad. Gumball eyes, especially, worst part, but the whole thing is just fun to eat. So
I am shocked. I judge the character popsicle eaters so hard. Of all the things to get, that I feel like that's like the worst.
it's the most fun. It's the worst tasting, most fun melting treat, because it's like, it's like trying to hold a snowball in the summer. It's just falling apart the moment you take it out of the package.
Damn, I would have never guessed that you were one of those, Ryan.
Well, I'm also the guy that like is fresh squeezing limes for like cocktails on the way to the beach. So I get to once I get there, whatever is available to me, I'll indulge in, right?
Oh, that's freaking great.
So yeah, like speaking of this summer has been kind of fun. We did the Manzanita episode, which I loved talking about that. That kind of gave us the spark, listening back to that, to head out to the coast. So Cannon Beach is an hour and a half or so away from Portland. Super easy day trip. Threw the kid in the car last Monday and went out there just to like smoke some joints on the beach and eat some saltwater taffy all together, like pretty nice. Oregon, which we have talked about on previous episodes, has like a tiny little coastal shop out there, which is killer for when you're just like, hey, in between ice cream cones, I would love a joint. And you just pop in there and, super friendly, like almost the same sort of selection. So yeah, I was happy to pop in there and grab some quick weed and go on with my day. It's nice. It's like a cute little coastal shop, like all of the other candle shops and places where you can buy wind chimes and things like that. Just fits right in.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I love Cannon Beach so much. It's so pretty there. And it's just so nice to walk up and down the coast. Like that little stretch of beach is just perfect.
Yeah. So Amanda's trip has inspired us to head back out there. You and I are planning more trips. Plus, you have more things coming up. So I think it's really fun that Amanda's travel bug is quite contagious. I hope people who are listening are like, you know what? I gotta get on that thing. Yeah.
That's the way to do it. And it's summer. Like it's the season. It's nice out. You want to go out. You want to adventure. I was just telling Ryan, I got a really nice message from a friend who listened to the Manzanita episode and was like, we're going. Like I've been living so close to it, but I've never been. I didn't know. And now there it is. And I made a little blog post to go with it on my website, but mostly the blog post is like, tune into the episode because that's where all the secrets are. So that if you haven't heard the Manzanita episode, I list all the best secret spots to go check out on the coast. And today we're talking about Humboldt. We're going to be doing a full-on Humboldt episode because when I tell you I know the best spots, I really mean it. I have really put in the time. I know the best burgers. I know the best drives. We got it. So if you have ever thought about going to the Emerald Triangle, we will be coming out with our Humboldt hot tips episode very soon too.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the sort of thing you want to listen to before you head out there and try and get a trimming job this year, right?
Well, and also I don't know like what you do, but if I'm going on a long road trip, sometimes I'll download podcasts about the place I'm going to just so I can like get in the zone and like learn some fun facts. So I think it's kind of nice to just like listen to an episode of something about the place you're going to. So recently when I went to Mount Shasta, I downloaded, it was a long drive. I went really far out of the way to go down to Shasta, but I downloaded a ton of different podcasts. And that's also how you discover new podcasts that you've never listened to before. This one that I've been listening to is like these two kind of redneck sounding guys. And at first I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I don't know how to put it nicely. They sounded conservative. So I was like lightly concerned about what was going to happen next, knowing nothing about them and nothing about the podcast. But no, they're two crazy conspiracy theorists. And the whole podcast was about Lumerians. So that was kind of a nice little get in the zone to go to a place full of weirdos,
Yes. Oh man, that's so perfect. And then, you have some familiarity when you get there to be like, oh, this is a gas station they were talking about right here. It's like when I follow like the owner of the coffee shop that I go to, and he's got like 1,000 followers on Instagram or whatever. And then I see him working behind the counter one day. I'm like, oh shit, that's a dude I follow. It's like he's famous to me just because I have some like slightly more familiarity than the normal person that like walks through the door. So I think you kind of get that same thing by like soaking up the stories before you get there. And I hope we can kind of provide a little bit of that today.
Yes, today's episode. I'm so excited about these interviews because we're going to hear from Steve. He is the master grower at King Range Farms. And we're also going to hear from Lauren, who I mentioned. I followed around all day while she was busy working. She is the head of cultivation there. It's the two of them. They have over 12,000 plants. This is a massive, massive farm, considering it's just the two of them. Wow. And they love weed and they've been doing this for a long time. And they're definitely a legacy to legal farm. So they managed to stay afloat this whole time. And it's just, first of all, I love the both of them so much. They're just such great people. I've had the privilege of working with both of them over the years. And to go back and actually really get to sit down and talk about it was just something I've been wanting to do with them for so long. And I really just feel like what you're about to hear is so authentic and so honest. Even listening back, I do the editing on some of the episodes, and when you interview people, you got to go in and get the good bits, but it was just chock full of just beautiful honesty and moments of what it's really like to be working in the Emerald Triangle in these times. It's very of the now. And they love what they do. They really love what they do. So it's so amazing to me to be able to talk to people who genuinely just love the plant, love their job, and they're still fucking doing it. They're really doing it.
Yeah.
And they grow crazy good weed. Their weed is fucking fire.
That's the most important, right? And it's all of the above. And I think like now where the weed industry is, it's not an easy place to be. And so the people who are still in it are doing it for the right reasons, or are doing it because it's very important to them. This is not just something. There are easier ways to make a paycheck at this point. Yeah. So weed is a lifestyle, and the people who are really living it, it's plain to see. So I think that's really cool. Do we want to do plugs and Instagrams and everything right now, so we can just drop the interview in and just let everybody listen to that?
Yeah, I think you guys are really going to love these interviews, but I'm really excited to share this with you. So I'll shout out those guys first, because that's King Range Farms. And I just also want to mention really quickly, if you are a listener of this podcast and you have ever heard me talk on and on in many episodes, especially the early days, about Blue Dream and seeking that perfect Blue Dream strain, when I talk about the top shelf best weed I've ever tried, I am always referencing this farm. They grow the best Blue Dream cookies. They have tons of other strains. Those happen to be my favorites. But any episode you've ever listened to where Blue Dream gets brought up, I'm talking about these guys. So they're already a little bit famous on this podcast, and now you get to actually meet the people behind the weed. So that's King Range Farms. You'll hear some of their stuff towards the end too. And of course, we're the .smoking spot on Instagram. Oh, I'll do your job this time. Ryan, where can we find you?
Oh, I'm at the Loud 100 on Instagram. Everybody knows you can find us, like Amanda said, at the .smoking spot. I'm at the Loud 100. Amanda is Emerald Temple Living, and we're all out there. We're all easy to find. Go ahead, send us some follows, especially follow the farm and the interviewees today. And if you were inspired to go and take a little road trip, or even just smoke some good Blue Dream after this, like, give us a shout. We love all that stuff on Instagram. Reach out.
It's been so nice hearing everyone that's been inspired by our episodes to go on little adventures, and we have more adventure podcast episodes coming. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these interviews. I know I did, and it's a little peek into the world of Humboldt in the legal market.
Welcome to King Range Farms, Amanda. It's good to see you, and Mike. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, we're King Range Farms. We're a small 24,000 square foot farmer out in southern Humboldt, Edinburgh, on the edge of the King Range National Conservation Area. So as you can see, it's pretty beautiful out here. It's remote and
one of the most beautiful places.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stunning here.
Yeah.
And like the weed in front of like all these massive trees, it's magical.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what people find really interesting is how folks in the industry got started.
Yeah, well, when I first came to this area, I was visiting from England, and I had no idea at all that Humboldt County or the Emerald Triangle even existed. I was just there on a kind of like a personal odyssey. I started off on the East Coast and got myself a little Honda Civic and just started driving around the states, and ended up in Humboldt County. I just by chance met a couple of people in Garberville who had lived here. They were actually transplants from San Francisco, the Haight-Ashbury, and they were part of the Back to Land movement in the mid-60s and early 70s, and they'd moved up here, and I just got talking to these guys, and they started to explain what was going on here, and at that time I had no real plans. So I ended up staying here for a while, and then went back to England. Obviously, I'm English. Went back to England, wrapped everything up, and came back. Met my wife, and Been here ever since. Got a couple of kids.
What's your favorite part of the season?
Every bit of it. It's like just the anticipation and looking forward to replanting the next year. I mean, if you're a farmer, you're an optimist. You have to be, because there's so many things that can go wrong. There's the weather. Recently we've had fires that have been coming through here. And a lot of farmers have lost their entire farms. They don't have the resources to rebuild. So it can be devastating. There's the pathogens. It's a crap shop, really. You never really know what's going to happen, no matter how much you prepare, you know. So, but that's the beauty of it. I like that. It's not a 9-to-5 kind of a job. You don't have that kind of mentality that goes with it. Yeah, it's damn hard work. It's the hardest job I've ever done. Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
So what's happening on the farm now?
Right now we're just planting the last 2 beds.
Damn.
We've got like 24 small greenhouses, so we're just on to the last 2, and then it's just we'll probably grow these out until second week in August. We should be completely done and harvested and be in the process of replanting for the second run.
So crazy.
Yeah.
That's honestly so crazy.
It's a lot of work. It's usually that's where you have your meltdowns. That's where people lose it, because you're trying to harvest, which is pretty intense, and do it right and replant at the same time.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
And
it's like
it's
harvest
brutal.
alone is kind of brutal.
Oh yeah.
And then you have replanting right after.
Yeah.
It's kind of
it's a lot of pressure. It's 16, 18 hour days for 7 days a week for a couple of weeks. It's brutal. But at least at that point you're not depping anymore. You're not pulling plastic. You're not on that routine, which is kind of a killer.
Yeah.
It gets old. It's a commitment for 2 or 3 months to do it. So, but at least it's over at that point. This year we've got several strains. We're trying to grow some of the kind of more popular stuff. That the purples. That seems to be what the buyers want these days, but we're kind of leaning back into some of our older strains like cookies, some of the strains that we've had on the farm for a few years.
How do you pick which ones you're growing?
Well, for me it's more about the site specific. It's like certain strains, because we're only about 5 miles from the coast, the humidity here in this area can get pretty high. So there's certain strains that like a drier kind of a climate, and certain strains that can stand that. So we try and weed our way through strains that will actually grow here pretty well. That's basically what. There are strains like OG, which I love to grow, but it's really tough here. We get the coastal fog coming in.
I think of all of the weed farms I've ever been to, you have always grown the best Blue Dream and also cookies. Like, I've never seen cookies nicer than what grows here.
Yeah,
it's really like
I appreciate
top tier, top shelf, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to a lot of the farmers around here, because there's some amazing farmers around here. Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible farmers. Really inventive and really know the plant like inside out. Especially these second generation kids that are in the like mid 30s. I mean, the parents were good growers, but they've taken it to another level. Our mission is to grow high quality, the world's fucking finest weed, and we have the strains. So as long as we can just keep our heads above water in this highly regulated, tough market. Because we're not capitalized. We don't have massive investors. We're doing this. It's all bootstrap. We can't go out and get loans, although a lot of us have already done that to get this far. Yeah, we've just got to be. Work our asses off and keep the quality up. It's got to be the best you can do, you know.
And you started a collective.
We got together with 8 farmers and we started up our own distribution processing company and our in-house brand, which is Humboldt Homegrown.
Shout out.
Yeah, and basically these are 8 farmers from southern Humboldt that have collectively been doing this for like 200 or 300 years, you know. These are like old legacy farmers. A lot of knowledge, great growers, great members of the community in many, many different ways. The 8 of us came together, and I think we made the right choice. We saw that was a way to survive in this brutal market. The more vertically integrated you are, the better chance you have of surviving. And we're all about that because it's a lifestyle, it's a lifestyle that we chose, and we cherish it. We're protective of it.
And was it like these days, coming from the legacy into the legal, what does it feel like being one of the OGs?
Well, I don't feel like I am. I'm doing my thing,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some way more OG people around here than me, but what does it feel like? It's a learning curve. The old business model was to be super quiet, keep your circles small, don't advertise. It was the exact opposite of how to run a business, but somehow it seemed to work. But going into what the white market now, obviously, I mean it's a commodity. It's highly regulated by the county and the state. There's been a lot to deal with, from the planning department in our county to the state regulation and everything that they require. It's been a long, expensive process, and kudos to anybody that's managed to get this far. It's a shame that it's been as brutal as it has, because a lot of people have fallen by the wayside. Small mom and pop that were, like, in many ways, the backbone of the communities.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's happened across the board everywhere. It's just the way it is, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Sorry about the clock.
No, I like it. It's good for our soundscape, for all the excitement. It's a busy farm. What else? We wouldn't expect any less.
Yeah. I think we pride ourselves in the quality of herb that we process and sell, and what we try to do is represent the farmers in a real positive way, and an honest way. We're looking out for the farmers, because we are the farmers. We understand. We're not one of these crazy burner distros that's out to just like make a quick dollar. We're here. We're part of the community, and we want to work and represent the other farmers in our community.
Absolutely. I think Humboldt is globally known for some of the best weed in the world.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, not only do we have I have to say the Emerald Triangle, which is Trinity, Humboldt, and Mendocino.
Yes.
Great growers, great climate. It's been going on since the mid-70s. There's 50 years of experience. I mean, amazing cultivators.
Oh, yeah. And crazy strains that have come out and
Crazy
literally
strains.
changed the cannabis culture completely.
Yeah, and we're hoping that, because the market's been driven by, like, the LA market and what those guys want down there, and we're hoping that in some way we can reintroduce some of the strains that we have in Humboldt County. But there's some great strains got developed around here. There's farmers that have strains that nobody else has. So giving those guys an opportunity to get it out into the bigger market's really exciting.
Yeah.
So, but it might take a while. You've got to re-educate the consumer.
Especially when it comes to, I think, terroir and creating appellations for this region.
Right.
Do you see that happening?
Oh, well, it is happening. It might take a while. In the last couple of years, that's been something that's come up on the radar, and people are definitely trying to do that. So I'm all about that.
I think what's cool about this area too, as we move towards appellations, is like once we can set a standard for quality, we can move cannabis from being a commodity agricultural product to it's the luxury agricultural product. And that's what's going to make the difference of you selling a Humboldt homegrown as a luxury item. Is it has that terroir, it has that sun-grown, the flavor, the smells that nobody else will ever have.
Oh, this without a doubt, we all know that, but we're up against these massive corporate growers. They're doing what they're doing and we're doing what we're doing, but I do know that we grow way better weed, and I have every confidence that we'll find a way to continue doing what we're doing and do it really successfully, for sure. They've driven the prices down over the last few years because they're producing volume, but they certainly don't produce anything like the quality of herb that we can grow up here. Yeah.
Well,
Completely
especially
agree.
with a property like this where it's so natural, and like yesterday you were saying, it's like there would be a way easier way to do it, just like flatten shit out and put a bunch of beds down, but you want to keep like all the influence of the nature around.
Well, yeah, we live here, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this place. You can see that. We try to be as gentle as we can. All our water is rainwater catchments, so we have a couple of ponds, and you know we have 1 million gallons worth of water stored, rainwater. So I'm not pumping out of the creeks. Yeah, we're trying to tread lightly on the environment. Not just me on this farm, but you know most of the farmers around here, the ones that are left now, that's principally that's one of the things that we try and do.
Perfect. Why don't you shout out your socials? What's your Instagram and website?
Well, I'm just on Instagram, but it's King Range Farms. Check me out on Instagram.
Things I never thought I would hear you say.
Yeah, and you can check out the Green Ox and Humboldt Homegrown. That's our processing, distribution, and our in-house brand, Humboldt Homegrown.
Perfect.
Check it out.
I've taken 1 million pictures while I've been here, like
Good.
literally 1 million, because this property it's just one of my favorite places.
Yeah, it's been good seeing you again, you know, kind of flashbacks.
Yeah.
You know, you can always come back later on in the year when we're like harvest. Maybe, you know, arrange a couple other farms for you to go and...
I would love that. Let's do it.
Yeah, all right.
Anything else, Steve?
No, I'm going to get back to planting. So we're done.
All right, Steve. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, cheers.
Okay, this is Watering with Lauren. We have a 360-degree view of mountains. We are above the clouds. And the entire property smells like sweetgrass and fucking weed. Why don't you describe where we are and what you're doing?
We're in Humboldt, California on King Range Farms. 45 minutes west of the 101, 7 miles from the ocean. Right now we're in my nursery on one of our properties, and we're watering in some cookie that are about to be planted. So we're getting the roots nice and wet, so they'll be ready for transplant.
Lauren is head of cultivation here at King Range Farms and oversees the growing and planting of over 12,000 plants throughout the growing season. This farm is entirely sun-grown and embodies the true flavor of Humboldt cannabis. To get here, you drive through the redwoods and up a mountain all the way to the top. All the way to the top. I came up in a brand new rental and it basically smelled like it was on fire by the time I got to the top.
That is not the first or last time that will happen.
Yeah. Many cars have been lost upon this road.
Amen.
This one goes out to the ones who didn't make it.
Yeah. Okay, so this spot has 14 greenhouses full of different strains. Got some up high in the old orchard.
And we're back into the water soundscapes. Okay, why don't you describe your job? What is it that you do here?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we start our own clones. We maintain our nursery for a few months until they're ready to be transplanted. Then we get everything organized by strain, by location. We get them tagged because we're legal. Keeping everything watered, defoliated, looking good. Get the roots strong for planting. And then plant. Amending soil, getting trellis up, cleaning out the plastic to start pulling tarps. Also planting marigolds because we need color in our lives. Keeping a veggie garden going, keeping track of all the inventory. 2 cats, a dog, 12 chickens, random animals, bringing strays to the shelter. Everything from cutting a clone to harvest, to trimming, to making the pounds and getting it sold.
I would love to hear how you got started in this crazy fucking industry.
A long time ago, I lived in San Francisco, and I was sort of dating a guy who would come up for like a weekend, make his rent and go back. So he started bringing me. I did that a few times. It was a super shady spot, super tweaker farmer. I didn't realize that at the time because I had nothing to compare it to. And then we stopped hanging out, and I told the woman I live with, I guess Humboldt's kind of over, and she said she could call her friend and see if he needed any help, because she would come up here for the past 30 years with her kids every summer and hang out in Honeydew and do camping all summer. So she knew my boss. She called him up and asked if he needed any help, and he did. So I came up with her daughter for a summer, and then they just kept calling me to come back. It was pretty random. It really was pretty random.
So you started out as a trimmer, and now you're running this giant wheat farm.
Yes.
What was it like transitioning into cultivation?
When I was thinking about staying and starting to work more outside rather than just running the trim scene here, someone had told me that I wouldn't be able to do the things required because I was pretty small and wasn't used to it, and thought I couldn't, do things like lift the food jugs up into the tank to get the food into the water. But then one of the people who was helping me learn and grow just told me to put it in a bucket and go up twice. So split the liquid in half and do it twice. There are ways to work around your own limitations, and by this point I am strong enough that that's not really a problem. You just have to get used to it and find a way that works for you. It was scary because I was working with people who had experience and were really good at what they did. So I was nervous if I could keep up and learn as quickly as they needed me to, but I had good teachers and they all helped me a lot. And now I'm here doing everything they taught me.
What was it like trying to keep up with all the people who had been doing this for so long?
Well, I hold myself to pretty high standards, so I was probably the only one stressing myself out. They were all really supportive. They'd help me while we were working. They'd sit on the porch at night and talk to me about the plan and why and when and how and all the variables that go into all the decisions. So there are different decisions to be made. It's not always the same answer, and they taught me how to figure out the different ways to decide what needed to be done next, and they were really supportive, and eventually I caught up.
I think that quality mentorship in this type of environment actually does play a huge role, because people go to school to learn how to do cannabis cultivation, but it's really about the on the ground training that makes the difference for you to know what to do in every situation.
Completely. And I'm definitely someone that learns better at work, doing it, seeing it, trying it, messing up and doing it again, than just reading a book or having someone tell me. I need to see. And so everyone definitely showed me lots of examples before I was expected to do anything on my own or be responsible for anything. And it's a lot easier to learn when you're able to do it and just jump in.
Is there anyone you want to shout out to who helped you on this journey?
Steve, the owner, is super supportive, and also Barrett. It was basically he and I for a long time, and he taught me a lot about the science of the plant and just how to be efficient.
How important is efficiency on a farm this big?
Extremely. You don't want to be going back and forth between properties unnecessarily. You want to make sure you have everything you need with you, ready, set up for the next day. You don't want to be backtracking. There's just not enough time.
And what's it like working as a woman in weed?
Well, everyone on our property at our farm is super supportive to me, so I don't always feel like a woman in weed. I just feel like part of the team. It is fun being smaller than everyone and doing it just as well. I had a guy once tell me he worked here about 4 days. He did not last. He was young, but he went to help me pull tarps, and he said it was really refreshing to see that a girl could do it just as well as any guy. And I said, yeah, I also have arms. And he didn't work here very long after that.
We've seen a lot of really badass ladies in this county too.
The women here are beasts, warriors, goddesses. They run everything. I do remember the day that my boss said everyone holding his business together was women. So that was nice to hear, even though he's always known that and he's always treated us that way. But it was nice to hear.
Oh, looks like we got a little squished guy over there.
Yeah.
It has been saved. It's part of the soundscapes. Yeah. All right. Let's go to our most comfortable spot.
Okay.
Smoking on the porch.
Okay.
Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
That's all done down there. Should we start moving the plants down?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you know, grab the plant off.
There was one plant that I thought looked weird. This one looks a little weird, huh?
Does look a little weird.
Yeah, we're gonna take that out.
They look great. I like all the little buggies.
We haven't bought ladybugs in so long. And I mean, they're not everywhere, but we have a lot for
Yeah.
not having bought them in about 6 months.
Yeah.
But also we're getting lace wings last year. They're great. They're kind of expensive, but they're native to the area. So if you put them out on your plants, there's plenty of natural things for them to gravitate towards, and then they breed and stay in your area. So it's not just like buy them and have to keep replacing. Those have been awesome. I feel like ladybugs move on.
A little happy ladybug right there. Okay, we've changed locations. Me and Lauren are chilling on the porch over the years. This is our spot. And of course, last night we were ready to go to bed, and we started reminiscing and staying up till past midnight like we always do.
Old photos.
Looking at old photos, memory lane. We worked out here. We're not really sure how many years or when it all started, but we know we've been here.
Many seasons, many rounds.
Never spending more than a few minutes less than 5 feet apart from each other.
That is absolutely true.
Like literally slept in the same room, 5 feet apart, sat next to each other in the workroom, less than 5 feet apart.
Been buddies.
Always been buddies, always eating our meals together. Only bathroom breaks, and we were never allowed to shower, so that was never a problem.
Yeah.
There was, it's California, it's dry. So sometimes you would go weeks without being able to take a shower because everything goes to the plants.
As it should.
It's why we're here.
Yeah.
We would spend 12, 14, 16, 18 hours trimming. And we'd sit in the little shed, trimming, sweating. So much sweat. And then we'd come out for our little smoke breaks. And you'd been staring at the weed for so long that all you could see was weed everywhere. Like you would look at a tree and you'd think,
how can I trim that?
how can I trim this? Or like defoliating. Sometimes when I go to sleep, after like a few days of defoliating, I see leaves in my dreams.
Absolutely. It's literally burned into the image of your brain.
Like your eyes literally can only see leaves and weed.
Yeah, and every forest tree needs to be reshaped, but you just can't reach them. We used to come out and stare at the orange house just to see a different color because the green was too much to look at.
Yeah. Like this is such a little piece of paradise. And I honestly feel like the growers that have lived out here have really maintained the land. Especially, especially in black market days, like people didn't want to get caught. They didn't run generators ever at night if they could avoid it. You would never see any lights in the valley. You didn't even know anyone else lived here. And you're on top of a mountain, like it's absolutely pristine. You can see like 20 mountain ranges in the distance.
Truly.
Like miles and miles of pristine wilderness.
Pause for enjoying the view. It's a hell of a view.
It's just trees on trees on trees. So I think it's kind of nice that there's still these pockets of farmers that are maintaining how weed should be grown. What would you say is the hardest part of your job?
Well, our property holds 6,000 plants the way we place them out. So we do 6,000 plants. And by the time they're harvested, we have clones turned into babies, turned into new plants, and they get replanted as soon as you harvest. So you just do a flip in July or August. That is exhausting. And once everything's done for the second round, that's much easier. You're not pulling tarps. You don't have new babies to watch. This is a lifestyle. This is not a job. This is all day for 6 months. Go hard. Your body wants to stop and you have to keep going. You think you can't do more, but you can. It's a lot of self-motivation, but I don't have to punch a clock. I don't have to wear a uniform. I can have my dog with me all the time. We have barbecues. I want to have a water fight this year. I've been trying to get people water ballooned from my attic. It's going to happen this year. I'm going to have a water fight. There's a lot of satisfaction in busting your ass all day and accomplishing things you never thought you could do. A lot of things you never thought you could do, and then going to sleep dirty and tired and knowing that you got a lot done. That's my favorite part. And I live here, which makes it a lot more motivating to want to do well. I don't go home at night and forget about it. I'm having dinner thinking about water hoses and filling tanks, and if this or that got done, I don't even remember because we move so fast. And before I open my eyes, I'm thinking about the same things, and then you just get to it again. But it's incredibly satisfying.
So what's on our list today?
I have wet feet from watering, so I need to change my socks. And then we're going to probably go down and plant some plants if you want to help. It'd be fun.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Said no matter what kind of pain and anguish life may bring you, oh, smoke it up, hold it down, and don't ever stop. Well, you can always find your smoking spot. Yeah, you can always find your smoking spot.
Hey, Smoking Spot fans! We're here to tell you about the newest launch from Centelligence Projects.
Over the last year, we've created the Cannabis Aroma Wheel. It's a sensory tool designed to help connoisseurs take their knowledge to the next level. So whether you're a bud tender, dispensary owner, cultivator, or you just love the smell of weed, you can better appreciate the cannabis in front of you.
Get your copy of the most detailed sensory tool built specifically for the cannabis industry and order your Cannabis Aroma Wheel today at centelligenceproject.com.